Welcome to How the Song Came to Be, where soulful songwriters share the stories behind their songs, as well as tools and creative practices you can use to bring your best songs or other creative works to life. I'm Ann Heaton, your host.
I know that a new song is like a baby, and it can be just killed by criticism. You have to nurture it and be good to it and not criticize it too harshly and let it be what it is, and it grows stronger, and then you sing it with confidence and it grows even stronger.
Welcome, songwriters, to How the Song Came to Be. I'm Ann Heaton, your host and founder of Soul Song School. Today's guest is Deb Talan. Singer-songwriter Deb Talan is one half of the Weepies, along with Deb Talan. They began writing together the night they met and soon formed American indie band the Weepies. On the strength of their lyrical songwriting and distinctive harmonies, the Weepies quietly sold more than 1 million records with over 30 million views on YouTube and 90 million streams on Spotify. They married and had 3 children, rarely touring but continuing to release music, making 7 records over 10 years. When their youngest son was 17 months old, Deb Town was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. She was in chemo almost immediately. Deb beat cancer, and the Weepies released an intense new record, Sirens. Coming back from the edge, sharpened their skills and focus. At 16 songs and almost an hour long, it quickly became one of the best received albums of their career. The Weepies are currently recording and on tour. Steve, I am so happy to see you, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you.
Hi, and you guys don't know this, but Ann and I came up together. I've known Ann since I was, a young songwriter. So hello, Ann. Thanks.
Hello, Steve. Thanks so much for being here. So there's a lot in that, and there's a lot I want to dive into in terms of especially like collaborative songwriting and songwriting through challenges or from challenges. But I want to start the way we always start the show, which is to ask you, how and why did you start songwriting? What's your story there? Like what compelled you to begin in the first place?
So when you reached out first to this, you asked that question, and I've been staying up nights wondering about it because I never really no, it's the truth. And I've come to this conclusion. It's twofold. The first is a love of music, and the second is wanting to write the music. Okay, or needing to write. And I don't think everybody does love music. As I've gone through life, I'm like, wow, so it's that old Leonard Cohen thing where you don't really care for music, do you? And I always thought that was a crazy lyric until I got older, and I was like, wow, some people don't do it the same way. So my first memory, I'm in a hotel pool, and I met a girl, and I was in love with her. This is my first memory. And she left the pool, and I asked someone where she went, and they said, well, she took a plane. She's moved on. And I was in the pool still, and I looked up and I saw a plane like going off into the sunset. And I was like, oh my God, she's on the plane. And the whole scene, and there was music playing, and I was sort of ecstatic. I was like horribly sad and totally happy and connected, and it was the music. And then my second memory.
Wait, were you like 7 or like 16?
Oh, no, probably 2.
Oh, like 2. Okay, right. So you were in love with like another little kid or something.
Just in a pool with a kid, and
gotcha.
Where we were.
Right.
But it's like my first actual, like I have little visions and memories, but my first concrete memory where I can see it, I'm like, that was it. And then my second real memory is of being in a child's chorus. I was in a Christian chorus, even though I'm Jewish.
Okay.
We sang a hymn called So My Sheep May Safely Graze. And I was so swept up in the music and the lights and the surrounding by voices that I stopped singing. And I probably was 4 or 5, whatever you are in your first thing. And that was my second memory. And I feel like from those ecstatic moments came what I was trying to connect with all this time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Well, I was trying to trace why it matters to me. Why, and I can think through life, through road trips and study halls and breakups and whatever, how music has meant a lot to me, but I was trying to trace, like, where did I get on that path where maybe somebody else didn't get on that
Right.
path?
Right. Like the initial like moments that kind of, yeah.
These are my earliest memories. And I've talked to other musicians, and they have similar stories where their first memories very often are of music in some way.
Mm,
Do you know
mm.
what I'm saying?
I
So that,
love that.
and then songwriting is harder, because I grew up not knowing that songwriting was something you could do. Like,
Yeah.
I went to
Same.
New public school, and you don't study Joni Mitchell a life. Do you know what I mean? But they do give you very early on a book that says Dale Earnhardt, race car driver. Hey, maybe you could be a race car driver! Exclamation point. Do you know what I mean? Like, they give you all these options, but musician is not one. They don't study the life of Louis Armstrong, but they should. And so it never occurred to me that what I wanted was to do that.
Mm.
But everything was pointing toward it. I did plays and music and this. And
Mm-hmm.
finally, my brother went off to college when I was 15, and he left his guitar. And I started to try to learn some of the songs I was liking on guitar, untrained. And I stopped going to class, and I just was trying to be Mark Knopfler on the guitar. And I couldn't do it because Mark Knopfler is an amazing guitarist from Dire Straits. But I couldn't do it. So I was, and it only had 5 strings, and it couldn't be tuned because it was rusted shut. So it was an out of tune 5-string guitar that I did Mark Knopfler songs on, and then also Stevie Ray Vaughan songs and Robert Jimmy Page. So all of those failures became my finger picking style. And since I couldn't sing the way they did, I would also change the melody.
Oh, wow.
And and then in school, concurrently, I was known as sort of a bookish poet kid, because poetry was okay. You studied William Blake and Williams, and these were acceptable.
Yeah.
And so I would write, even though I had like ELO in my secret headphones, and I'd be writing to Sweet Talking Woman, I would write iambic pentameter. If anyone caught me, it was poems, and that was.
Oh.
So I started putting the poems to the music that I was writing badly, that I was like emulating badly. So I think that was the beginning. I think that's how I started doing. I was trying to do what other people were doing that made me feel good badly.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
Because I'm trying to they never said like, oh yeah, I want to be one of those guys. I want to be, Richard Rodgers.
Yeah. It's so interesting because a lot of people who've been on the show, they had like their songwriting parents or like poet parents, or they knew it was an option. And for me, it wasn't like that. It was like, I heard music on the radio, but I didn't know you could like write songs. And it was like the Rolling Stones. Like I just couldn't make the leap. And
did it mean a lot to you though?
Like Peter Gabriel meant a lot to me, but like the idea of that I could do it didn't come till much later, but anyway, so I'm fascinated by how you found your way in.
I agree. That's totally the same. That's the same, because you idolize them and they mean so much to you, but you can't, I don't know. I just couldn't, I would never have said I want to be a musician.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would come up.
Yeah.
And my dad was a jazz clarinetist and piano player from the 50s. Like he had to work. He had a job and a family, and he played, on the weekends sometimes or at night.
Right.
A little bit.
Right.
And he clearly loved it, and he would try to share with me.
Yeah.
My mom loved folk music, whatever. But this is normal stuff. And no one ever said like, and maybe you'll become a writer. Like, no.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I wonder if I will say to my kids or not.
Wait, do your kids play?
Well, I know actually my older daughter has claimed, she's 6, like I told you before, she has claimed that she's an artist, but a visual artist. But she'll say it all the time. I'll be like, well, you said you might want to do soccer, and because it's great when they're running around. You want to do that? Or she's like, Mom, I told you I'm an artist, so that's what I want to do. And then she goes and like takes trash out of the trash and like stickers, and she starts making stuff. And I'm like, okay, like I know what I'm supposed to do. Like, it just let you make stuff.
I think
That's great.
that's much healthier than mine, because I was always like, Mom, you know that I'm Aquaman. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I was going to do. I was like, I'm a superhero, or I'm a whatever. And I was never but I became a songwriter only secretly when I was 17. But I've been cutting school for 2 years, and I wanted to learn music, and I took lessons from a guy. He's like a friend of my parents.
Yeah. Whose
son was living in their basement. You know what I mean? A musician in his mom's basement.
Yeah.
And he played piano. So I took a couple lessons from him, and he gave me like these Bartok pieces to learn. Do you play piano?
Yeah. Yeah. I started as a classical piano player. Right. So
and I know you
that's how.
Wait. So let me explain. So imagine that I've been studying Stevie Ray Vaughan and, modern music, that I do not read music. And he's like, here's some atonal Russian pieces for you to learn. And I was like,
you've got Mark Knopfler, you've got Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then Bartok.
By ear, on a guitar that's tuned like E, D, F sharp. It was terrible. But in any event, I failed utterly. But the guy was so cool, and he had a synthesizer, and he was in a band, and he was like so cool. And he said, well, what do you want to play? And I said, well, I don't know, give me some modern music. And he said, how about Billy Joel? Now, Billy Joel was one of the ones I had also been studying. Apparently,
wow.
I had a spin piano, and I couldn't play any of that either. But I had tried to play Angry Young Man, you know that one?
Yeah.
And New York State of Mind.
Yeah.
And so by ear, I could not play them. I could play them very badly. So he sent me home with a book of Billy Joel and the Bartok. And I came back the next week, and I could play those two songs. And after 2 years of playing them, I could play it.
Yeah.
And he sort of lost his mind. He was like, what the hell is going on? He's like, you are a moron when it comes to music, but that sounded great.
Yeah.
What's that? So I told him what I've been doing, and he's like, oh, let me try this. I'm going to give you 4 chords. And next week, I just want you to come back with a song.
Oh.
And I did. And that is sort of where I started. I was like, wait a minute. I can put this together any way I want. And it was pretty revelatory.
That's like a big breakthrough moment. Wait, I want to try to say back what you've said. So it's sort of like this synthesis of like mimicking music you love and finding your way in completely on your own. And then you're also writing poetry at school. So you're actually like learning iambic pentameter and learning how to write in it. And then you're deciding, okay, I can bring this back. And then having a teacher who at first maybe doesn't understand what you need, but starts to understand how you learn. And then
I think very, very key. He wasn't a teacher. He was 3 years older than me and stoned. And he was like a musician. No, I mean, really. His drummer turned out to be, his drummer was Dave Weckl. Do you know who that is?
No.
So look him up. Like, this guy was a jazz cat.
Okay.
He was absolutely a musician's musician. I'm sure he never made a dime. And he was a great musician. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was in it for the music. And he totally understood my secret life.
Oh, yeah.
That I had been secretly piecing this stuff together. And he was like, oh, wait a minute, dude. You're not like just the son of my mom's friend who lost. He's like, I got you, dude. So
yeah, he could see you suddenly, and he got the way in.
I don't know. I didn't have that experience with teachers growing up.
Oh, yeah. That is super. That's so cool. I love that story. So I want to kind of jump into, if you're willing, like the nitty gritty of the actual songwriting process. So obviously you do a ton of collaborating, and I just like, I heard an interview, or maybe you told me, I don't know, but like I understood that initially when you and Deb were writing together, it was like you'd bring a snippet of something or she'd bring a snippet of something, and then you'd kind of work from there. So like, what does collaboration look like now? Can you talk about that and give like specific examples?
This is great. So I was so secret that I never showed anyone a song for 10 years, from 17 to 27. I didn't show anybody anything. I mean, a couple of times, like girlfriends, I wouldn't show the lyrics, but I'd show a little music. But I tried to write with my brother, who I'm probably closest to in the world, and we wrote one song. And then we couldn't write together anymore. We argued over the song. We almost killed each other over it. And it's a really good song, but we really fought. And so when I met Deb, and the first night, she was able to comment on an early song of mine. I was like, I don't really know this, where I go with this. And I didn't at all, my hackles didn't raise up. Maybe it's because I already knew her as an artist and respected her.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And then I commented she was writing a song that turned out to be Ashes on Your Eyes. And I thought the chorus was in the wrong place.
Mm.
And we were drunk. And I said, I think the chorus is in the wrong place.
Mm.
She said, what do you mean? And I showed her what I meant. And she was like, wait, though. And she adjusted it. And she was like, here's where it goes. I was like, yes, that is how it goes.
Mm.
And that's what we do. Okay, so that's what it is. She's still Deb Town. She writes. I write here. This is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm stuck, or before I give it to people, and we're very self-critical. It's almost never that we write a song, we're finished.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will write a song. I've been writing a song now for 2.5 years, and I've been playing it out at the end of shows over the last 3 months.
Yeah.
It's different all the time. We keep, hammering away at it. So the collaborative process is just trusting someone else enough to bounce your own ideas off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we do anything more than that. It's just good to have someone else you trust, period.
I love that. That is so great. And I also want to just highlight for the songwriters listening something else you said about how it was like a secret for 10 years. You weren't really showing anyone your music, and just like I'm reminded, you're reminding me of something I completely forgot actually, but just I'm reminded of the bravery that it takes to put yourself out there like that. You know what I mean? Like, you might love something and you're doing it yourself, and then suddenly you're sharing it with this other person, and then I'm reminded, you were probably there. So like one of the first first open mic I ever played was at a place called Downtime.
You were down, absolutely.
Okay, so I just remembered this. So I was fine with like being in a play and like singing the song of the person. I'd play like classical piano in front of like hundreds of people, but I'd never written my own song. And the first time I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this, and I wrote the words, I actually couldn't sing it. Like, even though I could sing, like I got up there and I just talked it because I was so you probably saw me and were like, I don't know what's wrong with that lady.
I was with Teddy Goldstein.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, that's a big step.
No, you were terrible. You were, but it wasn't that you were bad. It's that you clearly were stopping.
Yeah. I was so like, scared to show me.
Yeah. You wouldn't do it.
To show something I made versus something I was imitating.
I totally get it. And so I want to take that criticism back. You weren't, it was that you just didn't do it. Like, you got up, and the piano playing was good, but it was on that plastic thing they had, right?
Yeah.
That thing they had.
Oh my God.
I remember this vividly.
You do? Oh God.
Because we were back in, and I actually had gone over to the bar. I was with Jefferson Thomas. Do you remember Jeff?
Oh yeah.
So Jeff and I were like, and Jeff said something like, he said something to the effect of, "Oh, poor girl." Like he's like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, and it was because Jeff was a little older than us, and he'd been there for 4 or 5 years, and he's 4. Whereas I was like, what's she doing? Like, she sort of stopped. You know what I mean? And Jeff's like,
well, and here's the good news. Here's the good news I want to remind people of. I had to go through that to get to the next. I couldn't skip it. I don't know if anything like that ever happened, but I had to go through this like moment of terror and moment of failing to get to the next moment where it got easier. I don't
So
know why.
my first open mic. Do you ever hear Chucky's in Love?
Wait, why does that sound
Ricky
familiar?
Lee Jones.
Oh,
Chucky's
yeah,
in
totally,
Love.
totally, totally. Yeah.
So I was in LA and I was doing something totally different. And on a, I don't know, on a whim, I went to this open mic because I heard it was run by Chuck E. of Chucky's in Love.
Okay.
I was like, I just want to meet Chuck E. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I went and I met him and he's like, sure, I'll put you on, man. What do you got? And I was like, well, I was going to maybe play a song. And I don't remember what song. I'm sure it was terrible. But he's like, he gave me a slot and I left. I didn't even take the slot. I was so scared.
Oh, yeah.
And that was 3 years before I got on stage. So I think your first time is better than mine. I didn't even make it to the stage.
Okay.
I just freaked out. I was like, that's, maybe Ricky Lee Jones is in the audience, or
Oh, yeah, totally. All right, I kind of want to go back.
I think you're smart, and I'm smart. And this is why, is because I know that a new song is like a baby, and it can be just killed by criticism. You have to nurture it and be good to it and not criticize it too harshly and let it be what it is, and it grows stronger. And then you sing it with confidence and it grows even stronger.
Yeah.
If you don't have the confidence as a performer yet or as a songwriter, I think both of us would have curled up and died and not been songwriters. If I got up on stage, I think I would have died. Like,
you know what? You're reminding me of something which I think is like more early on. Like, I really had to wait until a song was like fully manifested to present it, because I just sort of felt like I needed to be the presenter of something finished, and in order to pull it off, like almost like it was playing me. But now, writing songs for 20 years, I do what you mentioned, which is like I'll play it out 60% done, because I feel like I get information. Like as soon as I start to play it and I get to a part and I say a line, I'm like, that's the line that needs to change. But I can't tell when I'm alone in my house, but I can tell at the gig. I don't know why. So it's interesting.
That's what collaboration is for as well for me.
Talk about that.
No, as I'm playing, I'll play one for Deb, and I'll get down into the room, and I'll be like, nope. You know what I mean? You're like, I know what's happening here. And so now I have 2 steps. I'll do it for Deb, and if it passes her soundboard, then I can do it for the audience.
Okay.
And even then, it can suck. You know what I mean? Like I've definitely put one on its feet. Let's see, in the spring, put one on its feet, and I still really like the song.
Yeah.
But it didn't make it.
It didn't make it. Oh.
It's a little bit of a I don't know. It has like the head of a beast and the body of a horse, and it's not quite there.
Yeah. So wait, you got me thinking here for a second. So let me ask you, like, did you say something earlier about if you guys get stuck when you're writing something about challenges or something?
Okay, so obviously, the golden moment is to wake up with a song that you've dreamed and you play it, and then you take the poetry of your heart and you say it, and it falls into iambic pentameter and it rhymes, except not exactly rhymes, because that's what it does. And it's a beautiful song. And frankly, that has happened like 3 times. And I've been doing it for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, so once every 10 years, you'll get one. And if you're Paul Simon or Paul McCartney, you get them once every year. That's great. The rest of the time, you don't. And so what we've come up with, what we've done, is we give each other challenges. And the challenges are on a sheet of paper. And we'll give each other anywhere from 2 to 10 that we can pick from.
Oh.
Say, and what challenge will be, watch the opening scene of Gandhi with the sound off in front of the piano and write. Okay? Or open a thesaurus, point to a word, choose a near rhyme. That's your chorus. Go ahead. Or we'll go take a ragtime bass line, except use Somewhere Over the Rainbow as the bass line. Just the chorus. And
I love this game.
And it's a game. And that's it. And you don't have to do any of them, But early on, we got a song called Comfort that way. I wrote a song that I wrote a challenge for her that was like the beats per minute and the picking pattern. And then she was limited in the chords she could use.
Yeah.
And she came back in an hour with a song called Comfort, which I was like, this is awesome. Like, that's a great song for me. And you can play a little of it after the thing. But it just assured me that challenges work, that working is the point. If you can get something working, then you'll do good work eventually. And I've done bad work for years, by the way, where like I'll just do bad song after bad song after bad song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. I love the playful aspect of that, because I feel like as songwriting becomes more like your job or like the thing that you do,
yeah.
I don't know. For me, like sometimes, I mean, I love it more than I love anything, but then also I never, being somewhat of a freedom seeking person, I never feel like I want to do anything I'm supposed to. So you present this, first of all, it's a social aspect. I mean, you guys are married, so it's even more than social, and then it's fun. And so do you guys give, like, do you have to do the same challenge you give her, or she gives you each get unique ones?
No, it's almost always that she comes up with some and I came up with some and we trade, and we don't do it all the time, and we have stacks and stacks of these things. And so sometimes you can just pick them off the pile because you only do one a day or two at the most.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then we'll forget about them. And we have dozens and dozens.
Wait, so that makes me wonder, what is your songwriting like storage or organizational system? Like a pile of papers, a notebook?
Well, unfortunately, we live in a house now. So every room is full of paper everywhere. I mean, here, wait. Okay. Hold on. Can you see this?
Yeah.
These are songs.
Okay.
Those are all that.
Okay.
It's called, well, I just looked. It's called whistling two.
Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Whistling 2 frets. What is whistling 2 frets? I have no clue. But I wrote that, and I don't know when I wrote that. I was like, whistling 2 frets. What does that mean? I don't know. But and the more specific you can get with your task at hand, the more you can see where you want to go. For me, like if I just want to write a song about love, I'll never get there.
Right.
Never.
But having those limitations and something a way in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it is that we're deadline oriented people. We're artists who need a deadline.
Yeah.
So if you have a discrete task, you can do it. But if you have 3 months in the Caribbean to write an album, you're going to get some good swimming done, maybe some drinking.
Yeah.
You're not going to there's nothing going to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas you have 3 days to write an album, you'd be surprised what you could get done.
That's exactly right. I'm very jealous right now of Lin-Manuel's schedule, because I saw what he's doing, and I was like, he's going to get a lot done. That's great. It's that's him is a genius.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Totally. So to the songwriters listening, this is pure gold. If you can do this too, it's like you can give yourself a challenge. You can get a challenge from your collaborative partner.
The secret of all this is to get someone you want in bed into bed, right? This is the point of all these challenges. It's about connection and sex, and that's it. There's nothing else. It's from the time I was in the pool as a 2-year-old to now, it's all about that.
It's all about that. Yeah, exactly.
Back to the pool. I don't know how. There's no other point.
In the water. All right, so I'm now going to ask you something I had no intention of asking you, but you made me think of it, and I don't know why. And I feel like I'm channeling like our friend Teddy Goldstein right now. But do you ever feel? So I feel like I've been writing. I can write a happy song, but I've written a lot of sad songs, right? And I'm just wondering, do you have any sort of a litmus test of like, if you're like, this song is too sad, it's going to hurt people, instead of help them process their feelings to get to another place?
Nope.
Or is it just like no, it doesn't matter. You have any sort of like bar?
Nope.
Okay.
I have a cheese bar because I'm naturally a goofy writer. Do you know what I mean? Like I will absolutely pun whenever I can. And it's just not appropriate for most of the feelings that you want in a song. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you're
I
saying.
will
Yeah.
absolutely X an entire song just because I made a bad pun. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a, a pun. But no, as far as that goes, I think nothing's off limits, and I'm happy and grateful if I can get anywhere on any emotion in any song.
Mm.
And I would never be like, nah, that's too feelingful or too hard. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easy to step over the line once you're there, because if you're crying, Steely Dan has this line where he says, "I cried when I wrote this song. Sue me if it goes too long." I feel like every song I've ever written that's good, I've cried.
Yeah.
Even the happy ones, really. At some point, I've been. But when you're in that emotional space, you can write some crap, and it really means something to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to rewrite it, or have a partner, or play it out. So when you say some ridiculous sentence that's like, well, and I'll just talk, but, oh, I love you even though you have cancer and are gonna die. You're like, that's a terrible line, but I felt it. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. So you have to find a way to translate that so that someone else can feel what you're feeling, because they probably won't if you say it just like that.
Right. So I have a bar that's definitely, and I definitely look back, but I won't not write it. I'll write it. That's why I have reams of paper. Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to be the editor all the time.
Yeah.
You want to open the door. You want to step through. You want to connect. And, I look back at myself as a real idiot every couple of years. And so it's good to know to give yourself a break, and not be harsh. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why you're such a great writer, is you guys
I'm
both,
not, but
because
I have a really good partner.
yeah,
And
but you also you don't mind editing. I do meet writers who are like, no, I'm just done. Like, I'm done with it. I can't look at it again. And you're like, okay.
okay, can I tell you, there are some great songwriters who occasionally get lazy, and I get mad at them just for that, for exactly what you're talking about. Because I know, and I'm not going to name names because who the fuck am I to say it? But I'm arrogant. You can bleep that out. Sorry. But I get mad at them because I'm like, oh, no, you didn't just cut and paste that. You cut it. Oh, stop it. And I get mad because it's a beautiful lyric or whatever. And then they didn't go the extra mile. And I know they can. Not everyone can. And I don't feel harsh against songwriters I don't know or anything. But if one of my heroes, right? It's like,
Yeah, you get the feeling like they were like, nah, good enough.
Good enough.
But
Good enough. And I'm like, you wrote this song, so I know you know. Yeah.
Okay, so say you wrote that line about "I love you even though you have cancer" or something, like, in your notebook, and then later you were like, okay, I need to make this line better or something. Like, how would you?
I'll probably throw the whole. That's my meter. I'll probably throw the whole song out.
Oh, you throw the whole song out. Okay, you wouldn't try to find like a metaphor to capture the way you were feeling?
And that's why I think I have trouble as a teacher, because I don't feel like working on that is going to get me anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, that's something I wanted to say, but I haven't tuned into the Spiritus Mundi, the universal river that all artists swim in. Like, you need to get there. And you can't technical your way into it, or I can't anyway. I know some people can. So I'll just go back to the river.
And how do you go back to the river? What are some of the... do you cultivate that, like consciously?
Any vice is good. Any new thing is good. And then day after day, sitting down and writing, day after day, it is really boring when it's not going well. When it is going well, it's the best job in the world. It is.
Yeah. Do you get up in the morning and write?
Not these days.
Yeah.
I have 3 kids and a business and a house, and it sucks. The kids are great, but being 40 now that it's horrible being this age. It's like, oh my God, I have like a mortgage and life insurance. You know what I mean? You're like, oh wow, and I deal with it, and I wish I didn't, because I used to have empty time that I would protect, particularly early on in the days.
Yeah.
And now I have. I actually have to figure out right now how to get back to a larger creative empty time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me because I have two daughters, and Frank and I were just talking about this, not even relating to creativity, but just in terms of having space, having like just empty time. We're like, where's all the empty time go? Like, we didn't realize how much we used to have that we just took for granted. You know, there'd be like these long spaces of time. We'd be like, okay, how are we going to fill this up?
I think that there's a sense of connection for me with having sort of kids in a home life that fills up some of the insane need for connection that fueled my early writing binges. And I think in some ways, having, you know, a 4-year-old who comes and crawls into your bed does a lot toward not making you want to get up and go write. Do you know what I mean? And I'm pretty satisfied with that. Like I'm okay. And yes, I still feel like the best work I have is in front of me, and I want to do better, and I want to write something better and more connective. On the other hand, some of the fire has changed over time into a slower burning flame.
Yeah, I totally hear that. So, I want to go back to, you know, so I don't know why I'm hammering away at this, but what I'm curious about, like, so, okay, I'll just say this.
Wait,
So
time out. Yes, Deb. I am. That was Deb Town.
Hi. Do you have to go right now?
Not in the least.
Okay, we have like 10 more minutes. Are we good?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
No. I timed it out. It's because I'm really good at scheduling, and Deb is really bad at scheduling. So
yeah.
she'll panic once in a while and be like, "Oh my God, it's Yom Kippur." I'll be like, "No, that was last night, baby. It's no problem." I'm like, "No, remember we went the horseradish round." She's like, "Okay, good, we're good."
Oh good. God, you're so funny. Okay, I love it. So all right, so something that you and Deb have both had, like, because I knew you before you were in the Weepies, and I knew Deb's music before. So is two things. I mean, many things. I mean, the songs always land, and I always felt something, but just like specific things, like economy of language. Like, I feel like neither of you were ever, you know, you just used the amount of words you needed, and I think that's one of the things that's so strong about why the songs land. It's like there's no extra words, you know. And then
from you, thank you.
Oh, I mean, so to me, it's like such an obvious great thing. And then also like the melodies are so catchy and often intricate. You know, they travel, they have these, and I just love them. And you guys both had that, and then you came together, so
you're very
so
sweet.
Crazy and amazing. But I'm wondering, like, so I have a sense of something that you said to Deb, like chorus is in the wrong. What are some of the things that she might say to you if you bring her a song? And like, are those craft sort of skills that you have, like, are they conscious? Are you cultivating them? Are they just happening for you? Like,
the vast majority are definitely subconscious. The vast majority of conscious choices, I regret. Okay. You know what I mean? The vast majority were like, no, we're gonna do this. Even a great example is "Gotta Have You," okay, which Deb brought to the table, and I tried to make it into a standard song, okay, where it goes verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, okay, or bridge, verse, chorus. And the way she had it set up was bridge, verse, chorus, verse. And I was like, okay, that is crazy. I was like, let's please. And she didn't know she was doing that. It was just 3 artistic parts, and she'd put them together. Like,
they just came out, right?
And I got her to move the bridge further into the song. But if you listen to it, it still goes verse, chorus, bridge, verse, vamp, verse, chorus. And you're like, what is that? My original idea of chopping that song up and doing it, I've listened to it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And her original idea, crazy, not terrible, but what we came up with by my being like, excuse me one sec, I need a drink. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. So yeah, her screwing with the form is what I think helps make that song pack a punch.
See, that's so cool. So it shows that knowing a little bit about form and rearranging was good, but that you can if you take it too far and
and I think having
you can kill it. Yeah.
Having someone else who she respected enough to move it, but respecting herself as an artist enough to be like, yeah, and no. She's like, and that's enough. And honestly, that's a healthy relationship with friends or lovers or anybody. That's what you need. You need to give and take. So yeah.
And knowing where that boundary is, I think that's okay. More gold. So highlighting the gold that just came out, if I can. No, it's so true. And I feel like I've definitely done that with songs. Like they started out as something and they were a little bit too weird and I just didn't quite understand. And I tried to rearrange them too much until I lost interest in them. I'm like, okay, I just killed that. That's too bad. Yeah. But I never would have done that 15 years ago because I wouldn't have. But one thing I think really is true is that by listening.
Right.
Like, so you rearranged it once. That was better. Then you took it a little further. You guys heard it. And then Deb was like, no. You knew by listening. So there's no harm in trying. I mean.
Well, I'll give you another example. So there's an early song that I absolutely killed by saying, this sucks. Like because we wrote it. And then she was like, I think this is great. And I was like, I think it sucks. And I crumpled it up and I threw it away.
Oh.
And she went to a radio interview right after that, like literally that afternoon, and played it on the air in order to prove me wrong. So that, I have to say, like, that dynamic is definitely part of our thing. And that song was a song called Somebody Loved, which has become like a really big song for us.
Yeah.
So I have become, I think, a little less aggressive in my bullying of the artistic process. You know what I mean? Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're an idiot. And she went out and she played it for everybody. Everyone was like, hey, I love that. And
yeah.
Like,
oh, that's so funny. So is it always like playful? Like I feel like sometimes I ask.
Oh, that was deadly serious at the time.
It was okay.
I was so emotionally like, I just thought we had failed. I was like, because she's like, we should play this out, and I was like, over my dead body, we're playing that. I was like, this.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so to respect your time and the listeners' time, we start to wind it up a little bit.
Listeners have already turned off. It's just you and me at this point, Anne.
Yeah, this is just for us at this point. No, so you mentioned it. I know it's mentioned in the bio, and I've heard it or read it somewhere else. But like, in terms of the writing after everything that you guys went through and Deb went through with her challenges with breast cancer.
That sucks. Never get cancer. Never do that.
I mean, it must have been horrible, and yet she's made a record. You guys made a record after. Is that?
It's taken us years to recover. It took her years to recover. The kids are still recovering. She had stage 3 breast cancer, which is right before stage 4 breast cancer, and it was right on the edge. And she got hit with chemo. And listen, this happens to people every day. And I feel not special at all in our little corner of, she had a horrible year and it was hard. But what it did do was crystallize how lucky we are to do what we do. Because all that she wanted to do was hang with the kids, homeschool, write and record. And then we went on tour. And it was like, it all felt good, even in the face of death, And so that, it felt life affirming in that way. But I'm not happy that it happened. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad that she's okay.
Me too. She's good. she just yelled at me from the other room, and now she's off on her thing, and
right.
the kids. It's fine. It's,
right. But you're like, we didn't need that clarification process. We were already making music. We were already living our dream. We didn't need to like have cancer to learn like, you know, what we need, what we want to be doing.
Oh, become a songwriter. You know what I mean? Like I just want to say that both Deb and I were horrible failures. I mean, I don't know if you remember when you met me, Ann, but I was homeless essentially. I was living with Greg, my brother, on his couch, and like Deb was a mess. She was playing at Starbucks for, you know, while she was a barista. And like, it's really hard to do. And if anyone's doing it out there, don't worry about the world telling you whatever. Just do it. You have, you know, you have to do it anyway. So just do it. That's my opinion.
That's so nice of you to say. Yeah, you know, that reminds me of something else I know about you, which is that I feel like you're very methodical. And I wasn't going to talk about this either, but when you moved to California, I feel like you're actually a really great business person. I mean, you're talking about you being a failure and sleeping on couches, but I mean, I feel like you're a smart person and you work hard every day. And I feel like you've applied that to songwriting and maybe the business aspects and recording.
I don't want to. So there's a guy named William Carlos Williams who is a poet who is a hero of mine, and he was a doctor, and he would write every day, and he only became famous toward the end of his life, and he's one of the greatest poets I think that America has produced, and it's because he wrote every day. That I've tried to
write that down.
And he would even say, and they accused him of being a liar, and he said, you know, there was a day a woman was in labor for 36 hours and I was in with her. So you would think I couldn't during that day write something down, but in fact I did. On a piece of paper in between contractions, I wrote a line, and that was it. But I write every day. Wow, dude, that's awesome. And I'm also a little, you know, we're obsessive about it. We do it all the time, and it's annoying. I'm not sure how it would be to be married to someone who's not like that, because they would just find your scraps of paper everywhere, or your distraction at the dinner table as you're not listening to someone because you're trying to rhyme park benches with pretentious or whatever you're doing in your head. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I understand, and Deb does too. Or, the kids finally do too. They're like, Dad, you know what I mean? I got it.
Come back to us. Yeah. I always like say this quote and no one ever knows it or thinks it's funny or even gets it, but you just reminded me of that Hotel New Hampshire book. I don't know if you ever. So John Irving, in that one of the characters, it might have been the weightlifter or something, says like about weightlifting, like when he's telling him to eat bananas and drink milk, is that you have to like get obsessed and stay obsessed, like to become this amazing weightlifter. And I think of that about songwriting all the time, because I'm like, once I'm in it, I'm completely obsessed. And then I think like, if I didn't have that obsessive, it's a great place to put obsessive qualities because they don't belong anywhere else, you know? But it really does help things come to completion.
And there's Robert Fripp, a great guitarist. He said, you have to persist in failure, persist in obscurity, persist in success, persist in failure, and persist in obscurity. And that's the arc of the artist. And I was like, wow, dude, that is dark. But I found it to be totally true.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm in I persisted all the way through success and failure, and now that we're becoming obscure again, I'm like, it's harder to persist. I have kids, and my life is full in ways that it wasn't, but I'm still trying. I'm still here. I'm still doing it.
I love it. You just gave me the chills. It's so super inspiring. And
you're an easy target, dude. You're an easy.
I mean, I know it's like it's cool and hip. We met in New York. We should be like sort of jaded, but I am inspired, and I'm just going to admit it, and it's fine. Okay, so. You have tour dates coming up, right?
We just have a few. We're actually playing out by you. We're playing in Evanston, not right by you. What is that, 3 hours? We keep in Ann Arbor for some reason. Ann Arbor doesn't like us, but we're playing a few shows in the Midwest. We're playing a few shows in November on the East Coast.
Okay.
Centered around, we're just playing like 2 shows in New York, 2 shows in Boston, 1 out in North Adams, and then a workshop at Brown. But then next year is the 10th year anniversary of our entrance onto the Billboard charts.
Nice.
Highway. I mean, it's a big deal. I was like, that was 10 years ago. It seems like 100. But,
Yeah.
And yeah, people are like, can you imagine that was 10 years? I was like, it really feels like a different life. It was before we had kids.
So are you guys going to do a big tour?
So we're going to do a big tour. I don't know what it's going to look like because there's never any money for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
No one wants to, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to go, I think, on like a 22 city tour. That's the deal. And this is, no one knows this, by the way. This is between you, me, and everyone listening to your podcast, which is fine. But we're absolutely going to do a 10th year tour of some sort.
Okay.
And then we have to get back to work. We've been working, but I mean, we have to give ourselves an end date and an idea of like what we're doing. Because right now, I can show you, Deb is painting. That's what she's doing. And it's important work. But it's not helping the Weepies at all. And because she just finished this project and she needs a little creative space. And I'm writing crap. And some of it's good, so we have to at some point get it back on the horse.
Okay, cool. Well, this will definitely be out in advance of that. It might not be out before these October dates. So that is
if anyone has any suggestions as to what the Weepies should do next, because another record is probably what it'll be, but I don't know. Hit us up, theweepies at theweepies.com. Hit me up.
Origami, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Like Weepies line of China. I don't know. I love like dishes.
Why not? Okay, so cool. So I know you're not going to play live, but maybe. First, if you just gave like 70 pieces of songwriting advice, but if you had one piece of advice that you want people to it's amazing. If you had one thing that you would want to say to songwriters and creatives out there, what would you say?
My advice would be different for where you are and in your journey. But at the beginning, I would say don't be afraid to copy. Don't be afraid to find out exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Why does Michelangelo's sculptures look like Michelangelo's sculptures? Why? What did he do? And the same is true of Cole Porter. Why does it sound like a Cole Porter song? What is that? And then you can do that also. And in singing along with them, you'll find your own voice. I think I'm still finding it. I don't think that I've gotten there at all, but I feel like sometimes I sneak in, like who I am sneaks in.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. All right. So Steve's going to leave us with a story of how he wrote a particular song.
I will.
Then I'm going to edit it in and you're going to hear the recording of it. So we'll say bye, but then you'll hear the song. So
thank you, Anne.
Oh my gosh.
So good to see you.
It's so good to see you too.
Okay, here's my story. I had quit songwriting and I was working on a bunch of other stuff, and someone that I dearly love came over and told me why I was a failure at songwriting. And said, you know why you suck? It's because you don't write like Cole Porter or Robert Johnson. You're too complicated, too wordy, you're too in love with yourself, and you think your experience is everybody else's.
Is this true? Is it
totally true story?
Oh my God. Okay.
So on the spot, I wrote a song that you're going to play. Except I sounded pretty bad singing it. So I made my girlfriend at the time sing along and sing a take. And that song ended up on a record of ours called Say I Am You. And the song is called Nobody Knows Me at All. And it was written as like a screw you. All right, then I'm going to go as simple as I can and not universal themed. And it was written in like maybe 15 minutes tops. And the bridge I sort of went over with my girlfriend at the time, Deb Town. And I was like, what do you think? And we sort of shifted the bridge and then shifted it back. But this is essentially just a I think a lot of people who become actors or artists have a little in them that's like, oh yeah, where someone told them no.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, yeah, I'm going to say yes. And that for me, I really feel good about that song because of the generation of where it came out of.
Oh my God. I was listening to that song this morning. Like, I absolutely love that song.
And you can know that we're in our bedroom right where I've been essentially told that I suck by someone I love, you know what I mean? So there you go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to play that now. We're going to say thank you so much for telling us that story. And the title of the song is, again,
Nobody Knows Me at All.
Nobody Knows Me at All. So you can look that up on iTunes too. Okay, here it comes. Bye, Steve. Thank you so much.
Bye, Anne.
So fun. Bye.
When I was a child, everybody smiled. Nobody knows me at all. Very late at night and in the morning light, nobody knows me at all. I got lots of friends, yes, but then again, nobody knows me at all. Kids and a wife, it's a beautiful life. Nobody knows me at all. And oh, when the lights are low, oh, with someone I don't know, oh, I don't give a damn, I'm happy as a clam. Nobody knows me at all. Ah, what can you do? There's nobody like you. Nobody knows me at all. I know how you feel, no secrets to reveal. Nobody knows me at all. I'm very late at night and in the morning light, nobody knows me at all. Nobody knows me, nobody knows me, nobody knows me at all.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you know someone who would enjoy or benefit from this podcast, please share it with them. Thanks so much. Much love.